So after my marriage fell apart somewhere in the 2000s, I don't even remember when it was. It's such a blur. I was really devastated. It went down really badly. I was devastated. I was very broken, and I really didn't know if I would be able to recover from it. But luckily at the time, not too long before that, I had taken Reiki and done my mastership, and so I had some really good practitioners, some really good teachers that were lined up in that period of time. And I was doing a lot of work with hypnosis and rapid eye therapies and shamans and theta healing and things like that, and really working through things because I thought, I'm so angry, and I'm so angry at everybody, and I'm so angry about and disappointed about the way that everything happened, and I really have to take a look at this. And the more work I did, and I mean like real work, this wasn't about just running in and running out or seeing one person and going to the next person or having one session or things like this. This was like every week for a year, just really getting to the bottom of all of this stuff. Well, once I started working through kind of some of the anger toward the outside world and all of the people in it, and everybody that didn't give me what I thought I should have had and loved me the way that I thought, and yada yada yada, I realized I kind of got to the core that who I was really angry with and disappointed with was myself. And I remember even using the words like, I hate myself. There's nothing I like about myself. I don't like the way I walk. I don't like the way I talk. I don't like my voice. I don't like what I hated everything about myself. And that was very, that was very devastating too, is to realize that you hate yourself, and I thought we got to work on this. So one of the things that my mentor did, and it's some of the work that I do with people as well, it's one of my favorite things to do, is help lead people back through other versions of yourself, because the version that you are now is not that version. It's not all those other things that you've done. Those are different versions of you. Those are different identities, different things. You were making decisions with a different set of information than you have now. And so she was taking me back, and we were trying to find, like, who are you really angry with? And, mind you, there were lots of versions there that we ended up going with. But for this specific story, one of the first ones I landed on was the 19-year-old version of myself. And the minute I connected with her, the minute I could see her, the minute I was standing in front of her, I hated her so much. Like the level of anger that I felt was shocking, right? And I'm watching her, and essentially I'm just watching this baby, 19 years old is like a baby, and I'm watching this baby, and I'm watching her trying to run the world, right? So 17-year-old version moved out in with a boyfriend that really was not a good idea, And then fast forward to 19-year-old version, who was really trying to hold everything together, who wasn't really being able to be a child or decide what she wanted because she was already living with somebody and trying to do that. Then at 19 decided that it would be a great idea to bring in it was her boyfriend at the time, but to foster his sister's drug addicted baby, who was about 6 months at the time in foster home care. So 19 years old, I find myself, after all was said and done in paperwork and things like this, I find myself with this 7-month-old drug addicted baby. And it was rough, it was rough. He was rough. He had all the problems that you can probably imagine, but I was so determined. I was so determined to do this and take care of this baby and love this baby and all of these kinds of things. And everything just went from there. I mean, it really, really difficult time, really, really difficult situation. And each thing piled onto the next thing and led to the next thing and led to the next thing and led me to everything falling apart and me hating myself. And I'm standing there and I'm having this conversation with this version of myself, this 19-year-old version of myself. And I'm so sad because I'm looking at her, and as much as I hate her, she is trying so hard. And she says to me, I just thought if I brought this baby in and I loved him, he would love me. She was so desperate for somebody to love her, for somebody to care about her, for somebody to want her, that she made these really, let's just say, interesting decisions. And now, all this time later, instead of me being the adult, the role model, the person, the support system that she needed back then because she had nobody, she really was doing this on her own. Instead of me doing that and telling her, man, you did a good job. I'm so proud of you. I'm so sorry that you felt like you were so unloved, that you were going to show this little baby everything. You were going to love this little baby so much that he was never going to leave you. He was never going to hurt you. He was never going to do any of these things. And that is not the way that it turned out. And she didn't, and she was angry because she wanted somebody to say, good job, instead of, you're so stupid. You were so stupid. I can't believe that you made these choices and these decisions. So I sat in this moment with her, and I thought, I would never want to speak to one of my children that way, or to somebody, some 19-year-old that I cared about, that I saw was trying as hard as she can, And the thing about that 19-year-old was she was so confident. She was confident. She was determined. She knew what she wanted. She went after what she wanted. Strong as hell. And I had lost that over on this other side. I had lost all of that confidence. And the reason, because she's the energy of it. She is what gives me that. But because I was so angry at her, that was sitting on top of that. I had no access to that information anymore. And this applies to every version that you've ever been. A 2-year-old they explore and they're learning and they're moving and they're growing and they're learning new things. And a 5-year-old is creative and joyful and free flowing. And your 20-year-old is confident and all of these things. And you don't have access to them as long as you are not having a good relationship with them. And I was not having a good relationship with her at all. And so, this is some of the work that I love to do. So if you feel like, and you're going to find conflict with these parts because you feel something different than they feel, because 19 and 20 and 30-year-old Laurie had this difficult child that she was dealing with, and she had this lying, cheating husband, and all of this stuff that was going on in her life. But you know what? 40 and 50-year-old Laurie does not have any of those things, right? And so you have to start getting a better relationship or a better communication with the other versions of yourself and telling them that they did a good job, and stop being so angry at them all the time for the choices and the decisions that they made, because 19-year-old Laurie is very, very different than 53-year-old Laurie. There's no comparison that's in there. And she does not need more blame and shame and guilt and those kinds of things. And this is why this is some of my favorite work. And I do this with clients all the time, is help them go in and communicate with these versions of themselves that they have unresolved and unfinished business with, so you can free up and you can access all of that amazing, creative, free-flowing, confident, fun, joyful energy, and you can get that flowing back through your system.